Well, hey fans, welcome back to another movie review, and today we're talking about Minions and Monsters. So Minions and Monsters is an animated comedy film directed by Pierre Coffin, who is the voice of the Minions throughout the Despicable Me franchise. It also stars Trey Parker, Allison Janney, Christoph Waltz, Jesse Eisenberg, Jeff Bridges, Bobby Moynihan, Zoey Deutch, and many other names. Now, this is a prequel to both the Minions and Despicable Me movies. It takes place in the 1920s, and it follows a different tribe of minions as they try and make their way in old Hollywood. Now, the two main minions that we follow in this film are Henry and James. Now, James is a very creative minion. He's always drawing pictures, writing stories about their travels around the world, trying to find like an evil person to follow. And he just always seems to mess up the situation that they're in and causes their evil mentor to get seriously injured or die. Now, Henry, he thinks all this is funny, and he's like the only minion who really likes James, and they form a really strong friendship. And the movie is basically just them two going on an adventure with the other minions. And it's a typical format. It's a typical format of a Minions movie, the gibberish talking, but I have to say this is the best Minions movie out of all three of them. It is beautifully animated. The sound quality is amazing. The way the film opens, like these black and white photos and videos, and they do like a live action version of the Minions in these old Hollywood videos, but though it's in black and white, it is a different style of animation, more reminiscent to like the live action Disney remakes, Lion King and Moana, and that was really neat to see. And before it switches over to the traditional animation, this one has a wraparound story where we learn about these minions, how they differ from the minions that we know from the Despicable Me movies and the other Minions prequels. And it is a very fun and interesting way to tell this story. Basically, it's like a movie within a movie. And by the time you get to the end, it's like a movie within a movie within a movie. But I'd say I really did enjoy myself. I got to go see it with my daughter, and she was cracking up and laughing the entire time. And I found myself giggling a lot. Trey Parker, if you'll know from South Park, he voices Goomy, who is like the main villain of this movie, and I think he does a fantastic job. He's pretty funny. I wasn't quite sure that was him in the beginning, but when I was watching the film, I just kept telling myself, man, he sounds a lot like Cartman from South Park. And that's when I realized, okay, that's who he's voicing. Trey Parker also voiced Balthazar Brat in Despicable Me 3, who was another villain. So I'm pretty sure he's like really fond of the creators of this series, and they love working together. But I thought he did a great job. Christoph Waltz does a great job as Max. He's like your little Mario-esque film director who the Minions befriend and work with while they get famous in Hollywood. Jesse Eisenberg as Dort. Now, this character came out of left field, and I'll get more into him later, but that was a very endearing performance as well. And like I said, I really enjoyed it. There's a lot of deep cuts in this movie. They really did their research into making this film appealing to adults and cinephiles. This movie is really like a love letter to Hollywood. It has like a lot of references to old movies like The Day the Earth Stood Still, how the Hollywood land sign just became Hollywood, all these old movies and pictures. If you really know your history, you'll be able to point a lot of this out. And I think they did a fantastic job on that front. But like I said, this is my favorite Minions movie. I think it came together really well, but that does not mean there's not like a lot of ideas in here. This is basically three movies shoved into one. You got the Minions Take Hollywood movie, you got the Minions and Monster movie, which is the entire wraparound, the namesake of the movie, and then you have like a Minions and Aliens movie, which kind of appears about halfway towards the end. And they cram all this into one story, and it somehow comes together, and it somehow works. They also did this in Despicable Me 4, which really felt like a Minions movie, a Super Minions movie mixed with the Despicable Me movie and some other things. But somehow they have all these ideas with the Minions, and I feel like they don't know which ones they want to use, so they kind of cobble something together. But in this case, like I said, animation is great, story's great, sound is great, it's funny, kids are gonna love it and eat it up. I think it's gonna do very well, and I think they should keep making these movies. There's no reason to stop making Despicable Me movies or Minions movies. These are a cash cow. They're funny, they're cute, and even in this film, Goomy and the other monsters, it really does seem like they're kind of setting themselves up to do a spin-off series with these monster characters. As you know, Universal tried to launch a Dark Universe franchise a few years back. It didn't work out. They could bring that back in an animated form just for kids. Kind of like Hotel Transylvania, but better. And they can bring back Trey Parker as Goomy and just introduce, like the Mummy, Dracula, the Creature of the Black Lagoon, all these creatures that they were going to put in live action. Just do it animated and do it in a Minion spin-off movie. Call it like Monster Mash, and I think it will do very very well, and they can have that idea, even though it's their characters, this is their idea. But yeah, I feel like that is exactly what is going on here. But yeah, like I said, there's a lot of fun surprises in this film. Like George Lucas actually makes a cameo. When you see the cameo start to appear, it's funny. When he starts speaking, it gets even funnier. And that entire scene, it was very well done, very well crafted. I'm surprised that they were able to get it in a film like this. But yeah, like I said, I really did enjoy this movie. I really enjoyed taking my daughter. I think this is a film that the entire family can enjoy this summer. And in terms of a score, I'm going to give Minions and Monsters a decent 7.5 out of 10. It is really well done, really well animated. Like I said, looks great. The story is wild, the story is crazy, it's a lot over the place. A lot of the film had me thinking of Babylon, which is a bad movie, but if you take all that craziness of old Hollywood and animate and put Minions in there, it's great. And I definitely recommend that. If you like these movies, if you like the Minions and Despicable Me, definitely if you have kids, take your kids, go check this out. If you don't have kids, nieces, nephews, go find some kids, take them to this movie. It's enjoyable. Best Minions movie yet, and I can't wait to see where this franchise goes in the future. I thank you guys again for joining me for this movie review. Remember, you can find the full review on YouTube and the website, flipfrogllc.com/flicksfrog. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Reddit. And please, pretty please, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, I'll be seeing you.